an
Are you tired of
innocent
corporate-controlled
infant
media? Then it's
that's
time
just
to subscribe
lying
to a
there
new way of gaining
helplessly,
access to independent
but
and
it's
timely news coverage.
despised?
Introducing the Final Call Digital Edition.
Then the
Final
scripture
Call
goes
Digital
on,
Edition is on
and when
the
I
cutting edge
cast,
of print news delivery. The Final Call Digital
don't even
Edition
have
contains
what you
in-depth
call
reporting and
consciousness
thought-provoking analysis
anymore.
of both national and international
See, when you're
news.
conscious,
Get out of the old and get into the new. Subscribe to Final
We
Call Digital Edition
are
at
ticking time bombs.
digital.finalcall.com.
Is not to settle the disagreement,
Final Call Radio, streaming
but now
and
I want to
from the
end
Honorable Minister
the
Louis
life
Farrakhan.
of that person that has irritated me, disturbed me, upset me.
Take us everywhere.
That's the way we're popping off today.
On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also
And it
log
goes
on to
just like
finalcall.com
this.
and click the listen live button.
We go from 0 to 100,
Final Call
just
Radio,
like that.
the official voice of the Honorable Minister.
A disagreement in a store, anything, road rage, and what is the thought? Kill. What is the thought? Kill. Not, oh, maybe the sister, the brother was having a bad day. We are ticking time bombs. And everyone seems to have a very short fuse. Even some of us Muslims. You look so beautiful. But ooh, up underneath, snatch that headpiece off. All of a sudden, all of that nice talk, my sister, this brother all dressed with his bow tie, suited and booted, and all of a sudden, he take all that off. You MF, you N, wait a minute. And we're supposed to be the righteous. I'm supposed to see that you are my brother. You are my sister. But the enemy has turned us against ourselves. And the worst part of it is that we're loving it. We don't even have what you call consciousness anymore. See, when you're conscious, even if you upset me, I can pull back. I can put some brakes on it. But when I'm unconscious, then I get the swinging, I get the shooting. And where's that coming from? The inner rage, anger, frustration, disappointment. See? Because I don't value my own life. And since you look like me, I haven't had the courage to do it to myself. So I'll do it to somebody else. Isn't that a shame? When you look at the madness that is taking place in our communities. It's not just on the streets, it's in our homes. The violence is in our homes. The violence is in our families. The violence, the hatred, the bitterness is in marriages. The abuse that's in the home. And all of us are victims of these circumstances. But a man came, saw black people in their condition, like the baby that out there in the open field, polluting in its own blood. So in this book of Ezekiel, this prophet, son of man, comes by that baby who's in a terrible condition in an open field, and the Son of Man said, live. Live. If he's calling the child to live, it's because he has the power to give life to the child. He has the means by which to make that child grow up, to give him shelter and allow it to fulfill its destiny. Y'all all right? When Master Fard Muhammad came to us here in America, this is the teacher of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He saw us in a similar condition and not only said live, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said he proceeded to breathe life into a dead people. You know, when you lose consciousness or you suffer from some trauma and you stop breathing, what do they perform? CPR. That person has to be what? Resuscitated. You can't resuscitate the person being away from it. You got to touch the person. You got to put your mouth in that person's mouth and breathe oxygen into that person so the oxygen can go up into the brain. And when you're performing CPR, you're putting pressure on the heart so many times. Was it 20 times? 15. And you keep on until there's a pulse. The breathing of life into us means that God would dwell among us. He would come right in your ear. He would walk with you, talk with you, work with you. It'll be a hands-on operation, a hands-on CPR. You'll be touched by God himself. And what he did was raise the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Think about this. And he taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad how to cleanse us from the blood, the life that we used to live as chattel slaves and now presently as free slaves from our former slave masters and their children. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in September of 1931 heard a man teaching in Detroit, and when he heard him for the first time, he knew who this man was. Elijah Muhammad came out of the same condition that we're living in. Elijah Muhammad was not an educated, learned man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had his stains of the blood, of the lifestyle, of the enemy that we adopted. Elijah Muhammad, my father, he had a little drinking problem. Yeah. See, God always raises up one from the condition of the people. He don't drop them down. He brings them up so that you will know this man has had an encounter and an experience with God. Elijah Muhammad grew up among us, suffered what black people suffered. He migrated from the south to the north, from Georgia to Detroit, Michigan. He was poor, unable to find a job. My sister would tell me the stories where he was so hungry. He didn't have enough of food for his own children, but whatever was there was for them, and he would walk the streets at night hungry. Now, hunger to this point that he would be in the pots, and people would come and throw seeds for the birds. And Elijah Muhammad would pick up those seeds to satisfy his hunger. That's being poor. So when you see Elijah Muhammad's picture, just put that image up. Put him up, put him up, put him up. 'Cause he is up and exalted. That's your and my brother. Somebody cleaned him up. Somebody put a crown on his head. Someone made him a new man.
That's right. That's right.
A new man. Not the old man. Someone cleaned him up where he could throw the bottle down and away. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't procrastinate. And when he heard Master Fard Muhammad in September, I think it's the 22nd of September, 1931, like many of you are visiting today for your first time. When Master Fard Muhammad finished his lecture, Elijah Muhammad came up to accept the teachings, and he told him, I know who you are. And just think about this. He's the son of a Baptist preacher. Only went as far as the 4th grade. Was in a terrible condition. He would describe his condition as being so far down in the mud that only his eyes would show in the mud. Wow. But that man, like you, when you hear God, there's one thing, we may be crazy. No, we are. Whatever our condition is, you know how you know black people are the people of God? Because when you hear God, you can't help yourself but respond to God. his word. Your nature is from him. So Elijah Muhammad, even in that condition, he knew this man, as he would share with us, because his father was a Baptist preacher. He was familiar with the scriptures. And when he went up to accept the teachings, he told Master Fard Muhammad, I know who you are. You are the one that was prophesied or predicted to come, the Son of Man. And the master teacher said, shh. He whispered in his ear, yes, I am. But who knows that except you? We'll talk about that later. My God. Such a beautiful story, isn't it? So Elijah Muhammad recognized this one to be the Son of Man. And when you hear this teaching, it is a call for you, brother, you, sister, me, to live, to really come alive in your existence on the planet. No man or woman is happy, is at peace, until you and I know our purpose in life. There's no joy to living without purpose. And I've reached for it here or there, and I may acquire knowledge and get a degree in this, that, or the other, but there's something else that is calling on me to do something bigger than being a nurse, bigger than a doctor, bigger than a plumber, an electrician, an architect. There's a calling in the soul of black man and the black woman. And that's why we are never fully happy and experience joy, though we're making a living, though we're doing this, and we have a family, and you fall in love, and right? Life gotta be more than this. In a few days, I'm gonna kick the bucket. See, the calling that you feel deep down in your soul is a call or calling of God. That's right. That's right. To present yourselves to do His will. He got a job for you. He got a job for me. He got a job for us that will put the soul at rest. But I got to know what is His will for my life. I've got to attach my life to a cause bigger than myself, because my life only has value and meaning if it's attached to something of value that's bigger than me. That's right. Otherwise, I live just for me, and living just for me is vanity. And that's an empty living. Lord have mercy. He has shown mercy. So when we hear these teachings, we're not the same old black man and woman that we were. We don't carry on the the same behavior that we once did when we were polluted in the lifestyle of the enemy. We're not drunkards anymore. We ain't stumbling, getting tipsy. We go, I got something I got to do in life. And I can't have my mind or my sight or my hearing impaired. I got to drive my life now. And I can't drive intoxicated. I can't make decisions, good decisions for myself, intoxicated. I can't have any influence that impairs my ability to judge properly. I need to be able to make good choices, good decisions for a mate. A mate, a companion. So God says fornication is forbidden. Do you know why? Because sex is an intoxicant. That's right. You get drunk with the pleasure that comes from intimacy. Now, I want to be with you. We can't separate from each other. But why? Because you make me feel good. So there's no commitment, no acceptance of responsibility. And then some of us get so drunk. No, we do. I want to marry you. Sister say, you don't love me. Yes, I do. You don't love me. And then once we're in a committed union or relationship, then all of that pleasure wears off real quick. So we can't make good decisions in our life if we're intoxicated. That's right. That's right. So God wants us to clean up the house. When the enemy took us, is the scripture, see, they filled the vessels that were stolen out of the temple, poured in them wine. And look, you've heard it and we see it. You go in other communities, you don't see as many liquor stores. You don't go into the gas stations and can buy liquor. In our communities, you get it everywhere. Because we're consuming it. Yes, sir. But is it making you better? No, sir. No. But it sure feel good, Brother Ishmael. We thank Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We're not thieves and robbers anymore. We're not murderers anymore. We're not con men as we once were. Oh, there are a few little rotten apples. I mean, I can't say the whole, everybody in the barrel is right. No. We're in the process of being washed and being cleaned. The minister said, we're not college people that are using our learning to take advantage of the unlearned. We have become as followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a different kind of people. The life in this scripture Ezekiel live is realized by knowledge. Knowledge is what makes a people alive. And inherent in that knowledge, for a people to realize and obtain what they want, what they're seeking, of freedom, justice, and equality, inherent in that knowledge is an idea that gives energy and direction to that knowledge. Y'all all right? And that idea that is inherent in the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the idea of nation. Nation. Organizations are important as long as our organizations have the right idea at its base. Because all organizations have a function and a role to play for the success of our people. We have all of these organizations, all of these talented people, but the one thing we don't have is unity. Unity of the whole. As we talked last week, this body has organizations. The root word is organ, but every one of these organs function. They are in harmony for the success of the whole body. And when any organ suffers, the other organs come to that organ's assistance. They all serve one aim, one purpose, and that is the survival and preservation of this life. Imagine if we were to take this example of supreme organization and put it into effect in the black community. That all of our organizations could work together collectively for the whole of our people. That's why others are more successful, because they have unity. It's got to be all for one and one for all. This is the way the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said, brother, quote, I want you to think for the whole and speak for the whole. He didn't want his minister to just speak for the little nation of Islam. He wanted him to speak for all black people, not only in America, but all over the earth. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said one day to the minister, quote, here's the way I want you to think. If we have 30 million people eating a slice of bread per meal, that's 90 million slices of bread per day, 630 million slices of bread per week, 37.7 billion slices of bread per year. How much land must we have under wheat cultivation to give our people their daily bread? Nobody is talking like that. Everybody out for themselves. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to the minister, then you move on milk. How much land must we have? How many cows must we own? How much grazing land must we have to give our people a glass of milk for every meal? Think, brother, for the whole and speak for the whole. And that's why when you hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you hear him always speaking for the whole. That's right. That's right. You know he loves black people. Every one of us. Now look, all free people on our planet secured their freedom with the idea of nation. And that idea secured them land that they could what? Call their own. America was founded on the idea of making an independent nation, free from the tyranny of England. But they needed land in order to realize that idea. So they came over here, stole the lands from the native people, then brought us out of Africa. But guess what? To build their nation. Not their organization, not their church, not their temple, not a mosque, but to build a nation for the whole of their people that would want to migrate or come from Europe over into the new land in the Western Hemisphere. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that every life that came into existence, everything is needed to have a happy existence, a joyous existence, a healthy existence, a productive existence was already here when we were born. And some people gathered seeds from what was already here. They planted orchids and for the production of fruits and vegetables. So the whole idea of owning land, working land, this is how America became what it is today. All those fights and conflicts right now, it's about land. The pretext over there in Israel and what our Palestinian brothers and sisters are suffering. If you look at what was Palestine, I don't have the image for you today, but I'll bring it before you. What was called Palestine from 1917 to when America and England, when they settled their brother from Europe into Palestine and established Israel as a state. They have taken more and more land every time there was a war. They grabbed more and more land. They have gone into the lands that the Palestinians live on before this conflict and just started settling on the land and then building on land. And this is what angered the Palestinian people. And if you saw some of the reports with the footage, how those that lived in northern Israel would come in and literally move the Palestinian residents and farmers out of their homes, took it by force. This is the kind of enemy that we have been confronted with ever since they have been on our planet. They've gone into Africa, carved it up though. The French take another section of Africa. Africa is divided by the Europeans, the French, the English, the Portuguese, the Belgians, the Germans. Talk to me. Look at Central and South America, the same thing. We don't know nothing about state lines. When we were in our days of glory, we called the whole land Asia. Not countries, not a flag here and a flag there and this tribe here, that tribe. No. One planet, one people, one nation, under one flag. The sun, the moon, and the star, the greatest in the universe. God came to give back to us our flag, because that's what we live under. We live under it, we depend on it. Is that right? Yes, sir. Our existence and survival depends on the sun. Day and night. But we depend on that moon at night. It ripens the crops at night. It's shining its light. We depend on this flag. So we were given our original flag. The enemy, that's what he does. He takes the land from the people. And right now, all of that in Gaza, see, they're taking more and more territory. They don't even want them to come back. Oh, you look at that. Thank you. That's from 1947. You see all that is green? That's Palestine. You see, in 1947, and then 49 to 67, Israel in white. And look at the present day. Look at how they squeeze them. And you mean to tell me the Palestinians don't have a right to be angry? But they fight, die, sacrifice, because they recognize that they are a nation, not a group, a nation. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. Let me move this. You know, when white folks gave us so-called freedom, you know, with Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, that was like throwing us out into the open field. The cord was not cut, and we were not given the tools by which we could really exercise freedom. That's why we always are coming back to the same slave master for our basic needs. In 1863, Dr. King, in his last message at the National Cathedral in Washington, in March the 31st, 1968, listen to what Dr. King said. He said, in 1863, the Negro was told that he was free as a result of the Emancipation Proclamation being signed by Abraham Lincoln. But he was not given any land to make that freedom meaningful. It was something like keeping a person in prison for a number of years and suddenly discovering that that person is not guilty of the crime for which he was convicted. And you just go up to him and say, now you are free. But you don't give him any bus fare to get to town. You don't give him any money to get some clothes to put on his back or to get on his feet again in life. He said that every court of jurisprudence would rise up against this. And yet this is the very thing that our nation did to the black man. It simply said, you're free. And it left him there penniless, illiterate, not knowing what to do. And the irony of it, Dr. King said, is all is that at the same time, the nation failed to do anything for the black man. Through an act of Congress, it was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and in the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. This is what was done to us. Everybody else that came over, they provided for them land. Dr. King goes on to say, but not only did it give the land, it built land grant colleges to teach them how to farm. Not only that, it provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, as the years unfolded, it provided low interest rates so that they could mechanize their farms. And to this day, thousands of these very persons are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies every year not to farm. And these are so often the very people who tell, we were called Negroes at that time, tell blacks that they must lift themselves by their own bootstraps. It's all right to tell a man, Dr. King said, to lift himself by his own bootstraps. But it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. We talked about this last week. As the Civil War was ending, we were promised land, 40 acres and a mule, to start independent lives. But after the assassination of President Lincoln, that plan was scrapped. 20 pastors representing us met with the military generals. And the Secretary of War at that time, Edwin Stanton, he asked, you're probably familiar with this name, General Sherman, to ask blacks what they wanted. And guess what we said? One of the pastors spoke up and he said, the way we can best take care of ourselves is to have land and turn it and till it with our own hands. And white folks agreed. And they gave as much as 400,000 acres. It was 352 miles from Charleston, South Carolina to the St. Johns River in Florida. But Field Order 15 was rescinded, and the land was returned back to the Confederate owners. But in the period of 1863 to 1876, in those 14 years, we made great strides. We had our own political offices. We had our own political representation. We developed private businesses. And guess what? We built over 60 towns. Showing you that we did have some knowledge. Hell, we helped them build this. So that means we did have knowledge to do it for ourselves. And what we wanted then was not to live among them. That's intelligence. There's nothing wrong with trading with other people. There's nothing wrong with visiting other people in their nations and their cultures as long as you got your own. Does that make sense? Yes, sir. But in 1877, there was a meeting at the Wormley Hotel in Washington, D.C., and it was to decide the presidential election of 1876 between Rutherford Hayes and Samuel Tilden. And look at what they agreed. They agreed that if Hayes were awarded the presidency, he would remove government protection of the black ex-slaves in the South and allow the former Southern slaveholding class to return to power. And in their return to power, we would be turned back to the plantation in a new form of slavery. That's where sharecropping comes in. They responded by enacting the black codes. Y'all remember that? Or know it in the history? What you don't realize is the power of identifying yourself as a nation. Not as African Americans, as a nation. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we are a nation within a nation. Organizations don't win a people's liberation. That's right. A group over here, a group over there don't win the people's liberation and secure justice. It's only on the idea of nation, every member of that nation coming together with a shared vision, a shared common goal. That's why our generation, they don't have the direction. It's not that they don't want it, but they look at leadership. They look at what's in front of them. And we're so divided, one against the other. Did you know that the denial objective of the United States government is that black folks should never be allowed to organize for themselves? Do you know why they work to destroy Elijah Muhammad and the nation of Islam? Because it's that idea of nation that gives the people their freedom and their independence. I want you to follow this now, because it's right in the Bible. They said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. This was their unanimous decision. This is in the book of Psalms. They signed a treaty as allies against you. That's what happened at the Wormley Hotel. They conspired. They agreed to take back the emancipation of black folks and then create a new form of slavery. This is real. Scripture goes on to say they devised crafty schemes against your people. They conspire against your precious ones. Jeremiah says, for I was like a gentle lamb led to the slaughter. That's us, a gentle lamb. We are like sheep led to the slaughter. And the prophet says, I did not know that they had plotted against me. They said, let us destroy the tree with its fruit. Let us cut him off from the land of the living. Boy, that's some heavy scripture. This is why every leader that we have produced, they have targeted, they have destroyed responsible black leadership, because when you smite the shepherd, the flock scatter. This is real talk. Let us destroy the tree with its fruit. When they destroyed the Nation of Islam, it was like destroying the tree. And Elijah Muhammad was and is the tree. But it's an everlasting tree. And you can cut some of the branches. But when you have a tree that is well rooted, it'll send another branch or shoot up from that tree. And it'll grow in abundance. But they set out to destroy not only the tree, but its fruit, meaning the followers. The fruit of Islam. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. Have not I sweat and blood and tears built this country? Did we not fight in all of their wars? Did we not try and build our own organizations to fight for our cause? What did they do through the counterintelligence program? What did they do? They infiltrated them. Don't go to sleep on the enemy. Even when if we're in street organizations, try to come up with a truce and a ceasefire, you'd be surprised that the enemy has among us provocateurs, that he has among us those that will agitate and create tensions when tensions aren't even there, so that we can go right back to firing at each other. This is real talk. So, beloved brothers and sisters, I'm going to bring this to a close. America owes us. They owe us big time. But you can't ask for them to give you money. Because what? A fool and his money will soon part. Intelligent people ask for land. Land. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that ownership of land is a prime requisite for freedom and independence. He said we must start with the acquisition of land. He said the acquisition of land has been the factor for more wars than any other cause. He said and begged us to not let our children be as we are, beggars of another man for his home, his facilities, his clothes, his education, his food. But he also pointed out that man depends on the land for the necessities of food, clothing, and shelter. The wealth is in the land. That's why they're fighting all over the world. They want more land. And we haven't been peasants here. We're not squatters. We were brought over here to work the land. That gives you a right to the land. There's a law that the great revolutionary leader in Mexico, Emiliano Zapata, he said, la tierra pertenece a los quien trabaja. The land belongs to those who work the land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood is all in the land that is called United States of America. We're not going back to Africa. We're not going to the Caribbean. We're not going to Central and South America. This is our land. How do you know it's the will of God? Because when God visited Egypt and raised he did, raised Moses and Aaron. Look at the call, come out of her, meaning there were two things that God gave to the people: separation and land. Separation and land. They had to have land. So it's called the promised land. Where is the promised land for us? It's right under our feet. God intends to give us, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, some of this earth that we can call our own. All you gangbangers, it's the minister's words. We know you love to shoot, but you're killing yourself. We want to make you a defender of the territories that your nickels, dimes, and dollars and hours will buy. You are the natural warriors to defend. And the science of war must be taught to us so that we will protect whatever God allows us to buy or build. We're fighting and killing each other over a little turf, a block or two or three. My God, God want to give you all of it, so you don't have to be fighting over a little turf and a block here and a block there. No, 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 no. We come together. That's right. But you gotta see the vision and see yourself in that vision. That's right. And we take over. That's right. The communities where we already live. That's right. We ain't about to go nowhere. It's too many of us. But we can take ownership of the land that we're already living on. I know some of us are in real estate. Some of us are developers. Some of us just want to make $1. But you fall into the trap of the enemy. You come in, he's already created conditions so that the property value what? Drops. That's why he uses crime as a weapon. Oh, yeah. No, notice all the communities and the regentrification that's going on in all the cities. So he allows crime and all of that because the residents in the cities, the seniors, they start moving out. I can't take it no more. They sell their properties. The big developers come in. And some of us come in. We get the properties off of the tax sales, right? They're being auctioned. But we got the mindset of to sell it at market value to the highest buyer, but we don't realize that we are aiding the enemy and we're pushing our people out of neighborhoods where we have lived for 2 and 3 and 4 generations. Then he comes in and sets up, and you start seeing the sprinkle of salt and snowflakes, and it's summer. And all of a sudden, snowflake, 2-3 houses down. Hey, another snowflake across the street. Gee, I go to Walgreens. Where's this guy? Maybe he's visiting. No, they've settled. They've settled in. Boy, this enemy is something. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, since our being brought in change to the shores of America, our brain power, labor, skills, talent, and wealth has been taken, given, and spent toward building and adding to the civilization of another people. It is time, he said, for you and me to start doing for ourselves. He said, we boast that we should be recognized as equals. Let us make ourselves equals, but we cannot be equal with the master until we own what the master owns. And we cannot be equal with the master until we have the freedom the master enjoys. And we cannot be equal with the master until we have the education the master has. Then we can say, Master, recognize us as your equal. Wow. Today you are begging the master, the slave master's children, for what? You're begging them for a job. You're begging for complete recognition as their equals. You know, the movement of social justice. See, all of that is recognize us, treat us as equals. We're not in the position. And that's why each and every time he keeps on doing what he's doing to us. Tell me, how much has changed? You're young. You see all this killing going on. They've been lynching us, burning us at the stake. Is that right? Hunting us down. And now you get stopped. And it's the same thing. What has changed? That's because we haven't changed. That's right. When we change, they change. When we change, our condition changes. And you can't change your condition until you change within yourself. That's why the scripture says, be changed. Absolutely. But by what process? By the renewal of your mind. A new mind has to come in us. When you talk about a new mind, you're talking about a new thought process, a new pattern of thinking, a new agenda, a new vision for ourselves. Because we keep on rebaking the same old. And it ain't getting us nowhere. But Elijah Muhammad has it for us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan offer us a new way of thinking, a new mind. The enemy will never recognize us as an equal. If we are in a go to work and do for ourselves. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, by the help of Allah, I have and will still prove to you that God has given me the only solution to our problem here under this race. If you can prove to me and us that you have a better solution for the future of our nation, he said, I will bring my followers and myself, and I will join you. But if the solution given to me from Almighty God Allah is best, why don't you come? Why don't you bring your followers? Why don't you sit down and let us agree on a program that would advance us beyond begging for the crumbs that fall from our enemy's table? Brothers, think about the sacrifice that our fathers have made to build America. Think about what government has done to show their contempt for us. Don't you think it's time now for us first as black men to stand up? Isn't it time for us as black men to be the men that our women and our girls and our children will honor and respect? Because they see us as builders, they see us as producers, they see us as providers, and they see us as protectors. That's right. When we rise, all this madness will stop. You ain't got to call on no 911. Just call on the black man to stand up, be himself, accept responsibility, and we'll end all of this damn crap that's in our community that we're suffering from. I close with these words from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said, Let us make this clear. I am not begging. For it pleases Allah. He will give us a home. And I am with him. Today, according to Allah's word, we are living in a time of the great separation of the blacks and the whites. And look at what he said. The separation would be a blessing for both sides. You know, when you in a relationship and you fighting, man, it got quiet. You take some time out. You go to your corner and let the other one go to their corner. You're in a marriage, Allah hates divorce. But by all means, before y'all kill each other, separate with a thought of reconciliation. But you got to separate. That's the only solution for us. We're at their mercy. We eat their food. You don't even know what you're buying anymore. And they're killing us in the produce. They're killing us in the water. They're killing us in the fruit. They're killing us in the air. Gee, this is real. They not like us, brother. They really not like us. Look, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad loved Marcus Garvey. And the great Honorable Marcus Garvey was fond of saying, "Oh, you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will." And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad picked up that motto. And he said to us, "Oh, you mighty nation, you can accomplish what you will." Let us rise to the occasion of the moment. Let us rise and come together in unity. Let us come together. Let's sit together. Let's talk about what we need to do, block by block. In our neighborhood, we can't be looking to the sky for solution. We already have it. We got to act and move on what we already have. Trust me when I tell you that the plan of salvation has already been given. It's laid out, and they're very simple steps for us to take. And if we started on that program, I mean, seriously, not just coming to worship service, giving tithes, offerings, charity, but seriously planning, organizing, so that we can accomplish what we will. And guess what? It's God's will. That's right. And when you and I are in harmony with his will, that's right. There's no power to stop us. Right. Will there be resistance? Absolutely. But a people who are determined to be free as a nation. History has shown there has never been a force to stop a people who have decided that they want to be a nation and an independent people on our planet. Thank you for listening as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.